Great.
All right, let's try this again. Hi, my name's Zane Umberger, and I'm part of the SWAT MDM team. And I've got Thomas Stacy. All right, and let's try this again. Thomas Stacy with me here. He's gonna be answering questions. Um, so we're gonna go over iPad enrollment into the AirWatch MDM, tags, smart groups, the volume purchase program, um, apps and syncing apps and assignments, profiles and restrictions. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and begin.
Tell us about enrollment, right?
Yes. So the first video we're going to watch is a quick video about how iPads are enrolled, the basics of how they just go through the process, and what you should expect to see when you're actually enrolling a device. So we're going to watch that video now. So the first thing you're going to see is the welcome screen, the hello. So you're just going to swipe, then you're going to select your language, your region, and then you're going to put in a wireless credentials in. So you're going to normally choose the DPS student wireless. From there, it'll ask you a couple things, like to trust the certificate, and then once that's all entered, you'll go ahead and see a thing pop up that asks you to put in to accept location services or enable location services. Once location services are complete, sorry, I'm going a little quick. Once location services have been enabled, then the iPad's actually can go through a bunch of steps to connect it to our MDM through Apple and all this stuff, all behind the scenes. So you don't have to enter any of the things like an iTunes account or any of that information. So what you'll be seeing is that it'll pop up. It'll say it's being configured by Denver Public Schools, and please enable or click next to configure the iPad. Once that's complete, then it'll have it get started, and then it'll bring you to the home screen of the iPad. In a moment, what's going to happen is the iPad's going to go ahead and download the AirWatch Agent application. That's where we're going to go ahead and enter credentials for, depending on how you're doing it, but generally it's a generic student information like your school number dash cart 1 dash 01 through something, or a classroom number. In some occasions, like in a one-to-one situation, we'll actually go ahead and use the student's credentials to sign in. If in the case of a staff member, we'll actually use the staff member's Active Directory credentials, which is the same as their Outlook credentials. And we'll see in a moment some steps that take place. What you're seeing now is it does go through a couple loading processes, and there is some potential for it to pop up asking for allowing AirWatch to use your location services to gather data. Like what it does is it keeps it so it knows where the iPad is at. So if the iPad goes missing, we can go ahead and track that, as well as notification services. Notification services are things like you can actually have it pop up messages if in certain circumstances, like if you lock the iPad, you can have some messages say that, oh, this iPad's locked because of X, Y, or Z reasons. And then the iPad will then go into a screen that shows you the credentials of it. Like, so if you used, like in this example, 194 dash, like cart or something to that effect, it'll actually show that as well. So, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? No? Okay.
Might just be what we use this computer. Any questions in the chat?
Any questions?
No.
We'll give it just a couple more minutes or 30 seconds or so. And if nobody has any questions, we'll move on.
Puppies.
Cute puppies,
Cute
though.
puppies.
Got it. All right. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead on move on to tags. So what the purpose of the tags are is these tags allow you to target a device. Say you want to push an application or assign a restriction or many other things. What this does is allows the device to be kind of labeled to know where it's going to go. So if you have an art room or if you have a specific classroom, or let's say you have that one special student that needs that one application, you can tag it and have it so that a smart group will be assigned to that. So we're going to show you how to do tags right now. So first you log into the console, like always, and then you go to Devices, List View. It takes a little while. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it does a lot of work. So once we're past list view, what we're going to see is we're going to just see all the detailed devices of the current ones you see. So we're going to go ahead and break it down a little bit more by searching. So we're searching for the art ones in this example here. Again, 194. So you can actually select multiples or you can select individuals, like you see here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just select the 3 first. And then we go up to more. It's the gray more up there, and we're going to click Add Tag. From here, we're going to actually create a new tag, and since we're going to be targeting the art cart on this one, we're just going to type the school number in art and select a color. So this is the only time you actually get a select color. So if you feel the colors are important for you to remember something, make sure you get the right color right now because we can't change it. So now it's going to go ahead and refresh. You'll see that you can see one of the tags show up, but that tag is actually on all those devices at this point. Do you have any questions?
Nobody's putting questions in the chat.
No chat questions. Do you have any questions? No? No questions in the room. All right. We'll give it a couple minutes for chat to catch up. We've got some interesting images with it. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to go to smart groups. So we use smart groups for pretty much everything. So everything has to kind of flow through a smart group to get an application assigned to it, to get a restriction or profiles or many things to it. We can even do web clips. We can do web clips. So what a web clip is it's like a little link, like a shortcut on your desktop. So everything pretty much to get it assigned to an iPad will have to go to a smart group. So let's go ahead and move on to smart groups. So again, you go ahead and sign in, and then you go to Groups and Settings, Groups, Assignment Groups, and then we're going to go ahead and click on the Add Smart Group. From here, we're going to go ahead and use that tag we created earlier. We're going to label the smart group as Art, and I may have done these at different times, so this one is just going to be labeled Art on the tag. But it was intended to be the same. But if you select the smart group or the tag, and then you can see here that it actually will only select the devices that you had tagged earlier. So you can see that we had 3 or 6 devices selected. And it's really that simple. You click, create it real quick, and then you can begin utilizing it. So let's move on. Anybody have any questions now? I think this is going to be one of the fastest MDM trainings I've done. So Thomas, if you'd like to just, so that they are kind of a little bit more up to speed with the chat, you can post the questions a little earlier because they do have the delay.
Okay.
Well, if no question, so tags and smart groups. So tags and smart groups add apps to those iPads. Yes. So they don't. They are like the vehicle. So you actually have to have a smart group created to be able to define the app or the iPads you want to send the applications to. So think of it like I don't actually have a good analogy based on, but what happens is you once the device is in the smart group, you can go ahead and say, go get your application and actually say, well, I want it to this smart group. So we actually had an example earlier talking to Isabel, who's in the room. She actually has two different classrooms of Kinder or ECE. So she has her ECE 3 and her ECE 4. And so what she can do to be able to differentiate is she can select the iPads that are specifically for ECE 3, create a smart group that is targeting just those ones, and then have apps that are more appropriate to a 3-year-old and then create a smart group for apps that are more appropriate for a 4-year-old. Or for a more extreme example, a ECE kiddo or a fifth grader. You can differentiate between those, or you can go all the way down to say a classroom. The way those smart groups are broken up are fully up to you and how kind of refined you want it to be. So if you want it to be a single kiddo, like I mentioned earlier, so you have that one kid that needs Learning Ally Link on the iPad, you can actually go ahead and target just that one kid's iPad. So any other questions? Well, we're going to go ahead and move on. Thomas will continue answering your questions in chat, but we're going to go ahead and move on to using the volume purchase program to purchase an application. This is utilized for both free and paid applications. And the reason we do this is so that we can actually go ahead and get licenses that Apple can assign to the iPad itself. If you go through, say, the iTunes store on the iPad itself, it assigns it to the account on there. What we want is to eliminate the iTunes account so that you guys don't have to go and touch them. Because when there's an iTunes account and you're assigning it that way, you actually often have to go in and put in the password and all that stuff to allow it to even download the application. So we're going to go ahead and show you just the basic process on using the volume purchase program to purchase an application. So we're going to start. You go ahead and click on Education. Click Sign In. Go ahead and put in your school's credentials. So this is your school's volume purchase account Apple ID number. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and download the video science application. So you search for it, and you click on it, and then you put in the quantity. This is a free application, so it's not giving you any of the choosing between the managed or redeemable codes, but you always want to pick the managed licenses. So this step that we just went by is that it actually asks you a second time to put in your credentials if you have purchased over, I believe it's 20 licenses. So you pretty much are going to see this every time. So again, once you search and then you find your app, you put in the number of licenses, and then you go forward, and it may ask you again if you exceed 20. In most cases, we're going to exceed 20. So you should note that it will always ask you to sign in a second time. So if you have any questions, put it in chat. It did turn out pretty good, the little cat. It's adorable. Oh, it looks like Thomas's chat just broke, so we've got to give it just 1 second for him to be able to answer your questions.
I have it popped out.
There it is. All right. Isabel, any? No? No questions. All right. You guys are making me blow through all my content here. So if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and move on to how we actually assign the application through the smart group that we just purchased from the volume purchase program.
So we just got, nope, never mind.
All right. App assignment. Yep. All right. Here we go. So in this one, we always sign in first, but here we're going to click apps and books. Then we're going to make sure that we click list view. It doesn't always go to that, so that's why I'm going to say that. And then we go to purchased. And so from here, we've got to sync the the assets, which means it's going to go out and it's going to go and communicate with the volume purchase program and say, do I have any apps that need to be downloaded, or do we need to be referenced in AirWatch? Then we go ahead and search for the app, and then we click the View Assignment button. So this is a really important step, is clicking the Enable Device Assignment button right there. You see it's in the blue, it's got that big gray text around it. And so from here, we go and this is where we assign the smart group to it. So we click the Add Smart Group By, and then it says Add Assignment By, it says List Codes By, Assign Codes By Smart Group. Then we click inside the box, and we actually choose the smart group at that point. From there, the video is going a little faster than I am. From there, what we do is you actually have to assign a number of devices to the assignment. So we actually have to allocate a specific number. So you'll see when the video comes back through that it actually will have a field that says allocate, and we have to put a specific number in there. So you don't have to put as many as you're assigning to, but it's a good idea so that every device will get it. If you don't put enough in there, not every device will get it. It'll be more of a kind of a first come, first serve. The devices that come online first will get the assignment faster than the other ones. Or not faster, they will get it, and then there won't be any available for any of the other ones. The other thing that happens through here in the video is that we go ahead and click the Make App MDM Manage if user installed. That means that, let's say that you, even though you were enrolled for a while, you were using your iTunes account, which is completely fine, but you want to manage the licenses, so you can make sure that you're updating at the right times, because occasionally we do have that application that the update is worse than the previous version. So you can actually control that, so that you can do that. And this last part is just showing you that it's showing that the device is, or not the device, but the licenses have been assigned to those devices. All right, any questions? That's a good one. I think that was the crowd favorite.
Puppies.
The puppies. And so you guys know we are working toward getting these videos so that they are accessible online, so we can move forward and make it so that you can watch them as needed, so that you don't have to always revert back to either the YouTube video or the documentation, because I know that oftentimes watching a video is so much easier than reading the documentation. But we will be letting you guys know. We'll probably have it posted. When we have it posted, we'll probably let you guys know. So if there's no questions, then I guess we're going to go move on to restrictions. So the restrictions, think of restrictions as, well, you want to define what a student is or is not able to do. So think of, let's say you have an iPad, and the one class, the teacher, you've created a smart group for this teacher, and that teacher doesn't want the students to use YouTube, and you want to restrict that specifically on that application, on those iPads. Through that smart group and restriction is a profile, you can go ahead and you can say, I want to blacklist YouTube for that one teacher. Or if you want it school-wide, which a handful of schools do not like YouTube, so they actually block it school-wide. As well as the thing we're going to actually show is the restrictions that are provided directly from Apple. So you can turn off the App Store. You can make it so they can't add a passcode, or if you already have passcodes on there and you want to maintain those specific passcodes, you can make it so that those can't be modified. You can go ahead and make it so they can't add or remove an iTunes account, things of those nature. So let's go ahead and watch that video. So again, we log in, and then this time we go to Devices, Profiles. From Profiles we click List View, And now we're going to create the new one. We're just going to go to add profile. And since it's for iPads, we're always choosing Apple iOS. So first thing we do is we name it, right? And so we're going to go down and we're going to we're going to assign it to a group. So we're assigning it now to that group that we created earlier. And we're going to go back through and we're going to go to the restrictions on the left-hand side. Click configure. And now we have a large list. I mean, this is a really large list. I would suggest you take some time to sit down and really go through it. If you hover over the check marks, they'll give you a breakdown of what it should do. And if you have any questions or you really wonder how you want to go ahead about doing something and you're not sure if that restriction is going to do it or not, go ahead and give us an email, send us an email, and we can go ahead and do it. So once you're done with that, you go ahead and save and assign, and it will actually assign it to those devices that were in that smart group. Like I said, I gave you some examples there, but it's not exhaustive by any means. The restrictions are fairly in depth. You really want to take your time with those. And oftentimes, a school will actually really like to do what we see in STRs is they really like to go ahead and do one baseline, and then unless you have exceptions to that, most of the time that one's pretty much the same for all the students and all the devices. So any other questions? So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm actually running out of content. I can describe to you how to do web clips. I don't actually have a video or an example I can actually project to you, but if you don't have questions, I can go ahead and do that. And so with web clips, some of the great things about those is that you know how you have the Lion site with the database. Those database, if you go ahead and you go to the links on those databases, let's say Tumblebooks. If you go to Tumblebooks and you try to copy the link that's in the browser after you've browsed to it, it will not continue being able to, like you go to iPad and you try to bookmark it and put it on your home screen. You won't be able to actually get to those books once you try to use that link again. But if you use a web clip and use the redirect URL that is in Tumblebooks when you go to the database, you can actually make it so every time they click that, a student clicks that, it actually creates the proper session so they can utilize Tumblebooks on the iPad without having to go through the Lion database every single time. And that's something that I'm more than happy to work with you guys on if that's something you guys would like to utilize. And that's the same with the majority of our web links and things like that. So anything that's in the Lions database, if you're having any hard time making those a web clip or anything like that, just send us an email. Like I said, we're very much happy to do that. So. And it looks like we have a question. Can you create restriction smart groups that are sent to more than one smart group, or do you have to for each? Absolutely. So pretty much in like in applications, you can assign it to more than one. You can assign it to more than one smart group. In profiles, you can put in more than one smart group. What happens is once you add a smart group, the field will open back up on the profiles, and you'll just select another one. So yeah, you can, and you can also have multiple restrictions on the same smart group as well. And then what will happen is when you do that, it'll use the most restrictive setting. So if one is saying turn off the App Store and the other one doesn't, it will turn off the App Store because it, like I said, it uses the most restrictive. Any other questions? Thomas, did you send the link for the STR wiki, the console address, and the volume purchase address? So if there's anything else you guys would like me to go over, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to.
removing web addresses and try again.
Okay, so what we'll do is, since these web addresses, it's not letting us do the web addresses, is we will go ahead and send you an email with all the pertinent links. So we'll do the volume purchase program link, we'll do the AirWatch console link, and then we'll go ahead and send out the link to the STR wiki article on it. And if you click the tiny URL link that's on the video, no, not click, no.
No, I'll put it on the chat.
Okay, sorry. So we'll go ahead and get it put on the chat in just a moment. Is it not working? So while we're getting that to you guys, like I said, any questions at all? Anything you'd like me to cover? You can assume, Thomas, that most people don't have VPNs.
I'm just putting the exception out there.
Did you put it in the description? So it looks like we're going to go ahead and put it in the description because all the links that we've posted are not working. You may need to refresh it, though. That sound right? Apologize about this.
Can you post it? It's on your Skype.
On what?
I sent him the
No,
links.
he wasn't able to post
Any links?
either.
I was trying to post a link for the AirWatch Con, and it told me it was
here.
removed.
You just have to type it in.
All right, so I apologize. None of our links are actually working. So the tiny URL that's on the video is the way that you go ahead and do the attendance. So go ahead and go to the tinyurl.com. Are you signed in with your DPS credentials? So if you go to tinyurl.com/strpc Mac, that you can take attendance there, and it looks like that it finally populated on the description portion of the video.
I don't necessarily know if they even be able to get approved for VPN access. So. So, what do I respond?
All right. So thank you for attending. We are going to go ahead and close it down unless you guys have further questions. Have a great night. And like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and send them over our way, and we're more than happy to give you some answers or give you some assistance if you need to. Okay? Have a good night.